Hi, and welcome to my seminar video project that's part of my MS Educational Leadership program at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking about my professional experience up to this point, my leadership philosophy, the program goals and dispositions, the research project that I did, and I'm going to talk about what lies ahead for me in my professional pursuits. So far professionally, I have worked as a 2-year full-time bachelor's level hall director at St. Norbert College, and I spent the previous 2 years working as a 2-year assistant residence hall director, grad assistant at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. I have grown professionally by leaps and bounds over the past 4 years. I have boosted my efforts and become more of a change agent in my department of residence life. I have been able to couple class concepts with student development theory to just be a better student affairs professional overall. And finally, I think I've grown the most by really soaking up some professional development opportunities. The pinnacle of my success was presenting at a regional conference at UMR in Minnesota last year. I've had several different leadership opportunities since starting the Ed Leadership program, but 2 in particular have been working as an assistant hall director and supervising a staff of 16 CAs. Also, we learned in the Ed Leadership program that we're supposed to find our niche or forte, and for me, that's been really working with international students over the past 2 years. I've worked with international students in the Grunhagen Conference Center, as well as other students from the Middle East. As a young professional, the leadership style that I've really bought into is the situational leadership style. As a hall director, we have to wear so many different hats. We supervise students, advise young hall leaders, adjudicate conduct, and sometimes lead over our colleagues. So therefore, the situational leadership style really works for me. A couple other styles that I've dabbled with here or there have been a charismatic leadership style or democratic leadership style. Switching gears now, I want to talk about my leadership philosophy. Now, I've bought into the situational leadership model. However, I understand that since my time starting off in the program, that leadership styles are bound to change. There's so many different factors that we have to consider, such as environment or venue, the task at hand, the relationship to our followers, and so on. Therefore, I fully understand now, and what I've gained really since starting the program, is that our leadership styles are bound to change. For 2 specific examples of how I've really embodied this leadership philosophy, I look to a couple of different students that I've led. One being the community advisors that I supervise. I think back and in my first year last year, I was very much an authoritative, direct kind of supervisor. And this year I've been able to employ much more of a democratic, softer tone with them. And I think also to my hall government students, my very young leaders. Last year I had a lot of sophomores that really took the reins, and I could employ a lot more laissez-faire style, whereas this year I've had to be a lot more hands-on with my novice leaders. I honestly think that I've grown leaps and bounds regarding the MS Educational Leadership program goals and dispositions. For the program goals, I have been able to act as a change agent for my department by creating new programmatic offerings for our international students. I have communicated well and engaged my colleagues to collaborate and present with me on topics for our student staff meetings. I have also become more aware of social justice issues and have worked to assist underrepresented people in the campus community. I have been able to bring theory and research into my work as an admissions intern and also as a hall director, in presentations and in meetings with students. I feel that I have also achieved all the program dispositions over the previous 2 years. I do really value change as an opportunity for improvement. I'm constantly documenting what I do for a historical perspective to improve from year to year. In light of this, I have also been very intentional in trying to be receptive to the ideas of others to foster positive changes. I have embodied non-discriminatory access and accommodations in trying to intentionally recruit all students for leadership positions, and I am constantly reflecting on my philosophical assumptions and student affairs ethical principles. Finally, I understand that I am a learner for life, and constantly I strive to educate myself through any professional development opportunity that I can soak up. Now I want to talk about my research experience in the Ed Leadership program. As a professional working in residence life at Oshkosh, we are privy to a lot of data. We survey the heck out of our students, constantly asking for their feedback, but in this day and age being so busy, there's not always a lot of ample time to work with this data. So in my applied research class, I had a wonderful opportunity to utilize MapWorks data from the previous year and really utilize this historical de-identified data to learn a few things about first-year students. I did a researcher-designed correlative research study on the sense of belonging and how that impacted academic adjustment for first-year students. Specifically, the study focused on to what extent sense of belonging impacted the ability to keep up with work, academic motivation, and the degree of learning for first-year college students. I employed a Pearson correlation to see if there was any relationship between sense of belonging and academic adjustment for first-year students. And my research showed that there was a strong to very strong relationship between the two. I also employed a regression analysis to see whether or not sense of belonging was a significant predictor of academic adjustment. The independent variable was a significant predictor of the academic adjustment factor. There was statistical significance demonstrating that there was a causal effect between sense of belonging and academic adjustment, and that these two variables were not independent of one another. My research findings indicated that perceived sense of belonging did have drastic impacts on the academic adjustment for first-year students. Now, this has a lot of implications for higher education and student affairs particularly. For housing, that means and shows viability to the programming efforts that we're doing for community building and social types of programs, and also gives justification for programs like the LIFE program, which really is a living learning type of program. For admissions, it means that we really need to tailor our services and really strive and show students that they are going to belong at our universities. In terms of changes in my professional practice, I've been able to have more meaningful conduct meetings since doing this research. I understand that sometimes there's deeper level things going on with the students, and perhaps sense of belonging is one of those key factors. I've also been able to utilize the knowledge that I gained with recruiting students for hall government opportunities. You know, understanding now that sense of belonging does have such drastic impacts on first-year students really lends a lot of credibility to programs for the hall leaders like hall government opportunities. In terms of further research that could be done, I think it's important to look at students on campus versus off campus. I also think that it would be important to look at male versus female students. And also, you know, I think it would be important to look at maybe some landmark work by Chickering or Aston, and maybe look how sense of belonging impacts campus involvement, or maybe even peer connections. I hope that you were able to learn a few things about my leadership progression, leadership philosophy, how I accomplish the program goals and dispositions, and about my research. My experience in the Ed Leadership Program has been a wonderful journey, and now I will be working for the admissions office at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. I thank you for your time and attention. Have a great day.